Moving to a new country and building a new life is exciting, but sometimes you can't help but feel nostalgic or miss things from back home. Bringing a touch of African excitement to Manitoba, and with big dreams of even more across the country, Naija Market Day was created, a vibrant space to sell African foods, goods, and build community. Let's get into it.
Okay, my name is Abiodun Adetu, and it means born during a celebration. So you always see me in parties and places where it's happening in town, social events. I'm the lead strategist for Bapsumo Communications. Bapsumo Communications has an initiative called the Naija Market Day. Basically, what we do is make sure we bring the African local market into Canada. And, we usually say when you go to the malls, the retail stores, you see your next door, your neighbor, and you're not greeting each other. The person buying next to you is just going straight into business. But in our local market, it's like a party. It's
building that sense of community.
Yeah, it's a whole community on its own. You're shopping, you're eating, you're mingling, you're networking with the next person. It's a whole different ball game, and that's what we try to depict in the markets where we have. It's not your usual market. It's called the Naija Market Day, and then basically what we do is bring the community together and kind of like celebrate while we're having our market going on.
So you're really living up your namesake then with these events.
Exactly. Yes, that's what we do.
You're talking about building that sense of community, going through the supermarket and you see your neighbors and you kind of just going on your way. You're trying to build that more, that atmosphere, that energy. So how did this all start? When did it start?
It started this year.
Just this year?
Just this
wow.
year. It started in sometime around March, April this year. And, I was just seated and I was thinking, okay, I think maybe one of the things that started it was that I was in Superstore. And I saw this African, because in Africa, we have the culture of respect. Yes. So I saw this other elderly person coming towards me, dressed in Ankara. That's the fabric I'm wearing. And so I assumed she was probably African, maybe not Nigerian. And then I kind of curtsied to greet her. But she gave me a strange look. And I'm like, okay, maybe she's not African. And then I went about my business. And then I was seated and I was wondering, in our markets, there's the bargaining power. So someone tells you something is $10. You're like, no, I'm paying $1. And, you go back and forth.
Yeah, the haggling.
Yeah. And you guys may arrive at $3 or $5 from 10. So we have that in our market. We have the communal spirit where you just see the next person and you joke away or, you do stuff together. That isn't here in the local market. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I think it would be nice for us to do something similar.
Well, I was just thinking, I don't think I've ever haggled for anything
exactly.
before. You just go, whatever the price is,
and you're buying.
Yeah.
No, we don't do that. Even in the markets, while you're haggling, the next person is probably insulting you and you're taking it on and you're insulting them back, all in a love, funny, moment. And that's, one of the things that makes the market interesting. And so we had a test run in June. It was indoors because it was still pretty cold, and it was amazing. I mean, everybody was like, they have missed this. They love to see more of this. And then we thought, okay, let's go to Brandon, because folks in Brandon is always like, everything happens in Winnipeg and we don't get a taste of it.
You want to expand it out.
Yeah, so we went to Brandon and it was outdoors at Princess Park. The whole community, not just the African community, the whole community of Brandon braced up to it. They came out. I saw someone from China. She's Chinese, Canadian Chinese, eating with their aunt, eating our local amala dish. Some people were eating rice. It was just so fun seeing everybody within the community come together. And, that has spurred us to even say, we are taking it out of Manitoba, even into other provinces,
expanding
it out.
Energy out everywhere.
Yes.
Well, I think that's the most fun thing about markets and different cultural events like that. You get to experience something for people who are born in Canada. It's the opportunity to be like, wow, this is something I've never experienced outside of there if they haven't done any traveling. And for people who've immigrated here, it's that kind of sense of home.
Yeah. And again, for our kids, most of them haven't gone out of Canada. It's also a way to introduce culture to them, to say, when you go to local markets in any part of Africa, this is something you see. When someone tells you, you're pricing this for this much, don't get offended. Price the more, and, that's basically what it is. Exchange of culture and experiencing culture, and definitely a sense of home and a taste of.
Oh, that's exciting. So what sort of things can people find? We're talking a little bit about some foods and different types of things. What are things that people can find at a
At the market.
African market?
So we call it rare finds. So for instance, we are not used to eating frozen food that much. So one of the things you can see is fresh vegetables. We have artwork as well. We have, then again, it's a way to also build our entrepreneurs, because so many of us, we want to, from back home, we probably already had a business, but coming back here, we're back to 9 to 5. They're trying to launch out into business. So it also helps you, come out and launch out and, test run with the market.
Exactly. You go out. A lot of small entrepreneurs or like entrepreneurs go out starting. It's called Glass Jar Games. So they make a bunch of homemade kind of handmade card games. So that's where they started at farmers markets and other events like that. And that's a great place to start. You don't have to be like, okay, got to find a building. It's like you can start off small. You can just start
small, yeah. So that's basically one of the reasons as well, to help build our community business-wise. And yes, so there's so many things you find: nice clothing, earrings, hair products, so many products, African groceries. And this has also opened up opportunities, because just like a regular market, when we go to the regular market, as Africans, yes, we love the market. We see some things, but we don't really see things that are ours, right? Yeah. So when we come to this market, you can be sure to find everything you find in a local African market. And it has also helped us to connect with, for instance, our local health unit to say, oh, you want to bring your food to the market? These are the guidelines. This is what you should be doing. And they are helping us through it. As a matter of fact, on Wednesday, we are also having a training for our entrepreneurs, especially those in the food industry, to help them know when you're coming to the market, because it's new to us, right?
Well, it's like, hey, some of the standards or things that you might be used to at home could be different over here, because like every country kind of approaches things differently.
Yeah, but then they are trying to also look at the cultural lens to say, oh yes, you can do this, but in a different way, and it's acceptable. And so we're also walking through that baby steps to help us also, make sure we are doing things right, and make sure our entrepreneurs are getting their foot out there, and also make sure we are experiencing the local markets.
Well, hey, I'm all for greater variety in our food options out there. If you go to your general chains or anything, you might not find, some of the international food sections have gotten better.
Oh, yeah.
But, oftentimes you're going, it's like, oh, we want this specific item.
Nothing
is like, you ask them, they're like, I don't know what that is. For like my fiance and I, when we're going to like a number of different like Asian supermarkets or Asian stores, like for me, it's always exciting to be like, oh, what's this? What's this? Like seeing all the different types of foods and things. And if we started to grow and develop more of like an African market, let's say, year round, if we had a grocery store, it's like, hey, these are like African like specialty items, like spices, different foods and things. I think that adds to not only the cultural flavor of Winnipeg, but just helps grow Winnipeg as a whole as well.
And we have quite a number of African stores doing well. So for instance, if I need I might have to go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stores to be able to get everything I need. But at the market, you're buying this, you're getting this, you get all at one place.
Well, it's nice when it's all in one spot.
Exactly.
Because like driving across the city, like it's such a pain, especially if you're dealing with rush hour.
Exactly.
Or it's like you're on a time crunch. It's like, oh no, I can only make it to 3 of the 5 this time.
So yes, that market helps bring everybody together. And it's been a great initiative, and it's been welcomed. And that's where we are right now.
Yeah, what sort of things are people from the community saying? You've had 2 events now, one in Winnipeg, one in Brandon. How are people feeling? Are people excited to see it next year?
They want it every day. They're like, can we have this next month? I said, I wish, but we're trying to now make it like once in winter and once in summer. So we have the indoor feel, and then we also have the outdoor feel. Ultimately, we're hoping we can get enough support to be able to have our own like
your own
physical
space,
space where we can have the African market, and you have all the stores, right there at the market. Because usually when we go to our market, that's the kind of thing we have where, everybody's in one place.
Stalls and stuff.
Yes. Something like the St. Norbert market, something similar to that, until we can have
fun. So it's kind of working up to there. Like, you're starting out with the outdoor location, looking at, let's do the winter one indoors. And then as it grows and develops, then you get that interest. then you can be like, okay, can we get a more permanent space? And
Exactly.
I guess that's the conversation of what does it take to put on something like this when people are saying, oh, I want to see it every day.
Yes, it is. And we are thankful for the support we've received from the community. Even non-Africans have been there to, show us the way, show us the ropes. And I'm just coming from a meeting as well from the food trip, the food trip team. They're
Yeah.
having their market starting on 14th and 15th, just down the road here. And, I'm getting a lot of initiative for them. We're also looking at ways where we can collaborate to bring communities together
Of course.
and do all that.
Well, that's what we want to do. We want to bridge different cultural communities together, be like, oh, what sort of things, and who knows what sort of new dishes and things can come from that
true that.
collaboration. It's like taking Asian and Western foods, combining it with African foods, and like what sort of cool, amazing new things can we create?
Yes, we're hoping for that.
So you're mentioning you want to bring this Canada-wide. What does it take to create an initiative like that? Starting off here in Manitoba, you've gotten some experiences with Winnipeg and Brandon. What sort of things are you looking at when trying to expand this across the country?
First, we try to connect with the local authorities there to see what is obtainable and, what we need to get. And from there, we also connect with the community. I think once those are sorted, it's like easy to get through because the truth is so many people are looking forward to something like this. So how do we make that happen? But the few challenges we've seen is that crossing different platforms, crossing from Manitoba going into Alberta, they have their own rules that we need to follow.
Yeah.
And so yes, we are baby steps gradually walking through those.
So what sort of timeline? Just a rough timeline. Of course, you're early stage of figuring, what does it take to start up something in Alberta, talking to the proper authorities. What sort of rough timeline are we looking at? Is it something that people can expect maybe next summer or
sooner than later? Yes, we are already having plans and work to move out soon, but we haven't started publicity. It's not open to the public yet, but we'll be announcing that very soon, and we'll let you know as well, so you can help us.
Very
promote.
Cool. That's really cool. Expanding it out to different places. I guess what sort of things, as people are going to these events and you're continuing to grow it here in Manitoba, as well as expanding it Canada-wide, what do you hope things of people outside of the African culture come in? Because it's all about coming together, growing, engaging with each other. What do you want them to
take
away or maybe learn from the various different cultures and countries of Africa?
Yeah, like I always say, every experience I love to intertwine with other people so I can learn or take something away from them. And that also takes us to Cara Magazine. It's a magazine that I started that helps folks know a little bit more about Africa, because you hear people say, oh, I know all about Africa. I'm like, oh, really? How many countries have you been to? I'm like, oh, I've been to Kenya. That's just one out of 54.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, how many are there actually? There's so many.
Yeah, and for instance, my country is Nigeria. We're about 150 million people, more than that. Ghana is there. Ethiopia is there. Libya is there. Are so many countries, right? So Cara Magazine helps people know a little bit more. We spoke about jollof earlier, so there's a recipe for that in the magazine. We talk about some of our past heroes and, heroines, warriors of the past. We talk about history. We go into tourism to say, oh, come visit South Africa with us. Just see what it looks like. Even I, as an African, when I visited South Africa, I was like, are you sure I'm still in Africa? It's a beautiful country. Nigeria is another there's so many beautiful spaces all over Africa. So when you come to the market or when you pick a copy of Cara Magazine, we want you to, just share some part of us with us. Just learn something, and it also helps build, our knowledge and our experience about the African people, because there's this misconception I like to say about Africans and Blacks. We look alike. We probably don't talk alike, or we do sometimes.
Culturally different.
Yes, but we are totally different. They are more of, like I always say, the other part of the world, right?
Yeah.
Than they're Africans. So this just helps you, know the difference, and also helps you learn a little bit more about Africans.
Let's talk about Nigeria a little bit more. When we're looking at foods, clothing, or things, what are things that are extensively Nigerian when we're looking at, if someone goes to a stall at this market day and they go to a person who's selling Nigerian items.
So if you want to come into, for instance, if you go into the market and there's some things that is like typical to us, so you could have, because Nigeria is so large, we have over 200 languages. We have diverse food, right? So we have from the north to the east to the west to the south and all that. But, clothing is unique to us. So Ankara kind of, although Ankara is in other parts of Africa as well, but, we use it a lot. Our food. So for instance, I said the jollof. Jollof is also, there's this war between Ghana and Nigeria saying who owns the best jollof. I try not to take sides, but, so we have the jollof. We have some meals. We have the unkwobi. It's an Igbo meal. It's so delicious. We have tuwo shinkafa. It's from the northern part of Nigeria. We have white soup. These are just meals. We have amala. We have pounded yam. And these are just food. Then we have artworks. We have the different cultures. So we have the Egungun Masquerade Festival. We have the Eyo Carnival. There's so many. They're so diverse and so unique, and we have all of those going on for us.
And that's just in one country.
That's just one country. Now imagine 54 or 53 other countries. So there's so many things. I was at Ghana Pavilion, and it was a whole new experience for me. I mean, I've been to Ghana like 2 or 3 times, but then when I went to the Ghana Pavilion at Fulkorama, the things I saw, the things I watched,
I don't recognize this.
I didn't even know those things existed. So it was a learning process for me that I'm an African and Nigerian, and Nigeria is pretty close to Ghana.
Yeah.
So how much more someone from outside? So there's a whole lot to learn about Africa that people, I think you just like to be in this safe zone to say, oh, I know Africa. Oh, they're all blacks. Oh, no. I want people to take a step back and just, think about it, to say, let me get, if you're in a relationship with someone, you try to get to know them.
Exactly.
So, and Canada has given us that platform to say, oh, yeah, we are all Canadians, but we are so many cultures and so many tribes, so many countries. Let's get to know each other. Let's not just there's an event somewhere. No, let's truly get to know each other.
It's like the same thing with Europe, right? Much smaller than Africa, but it also has a wide array of people, like right next to each other, like France, Spain, Germany, very different.
Diverse, yeah. I just want to encourage folks to take a step back, to learn about other cultures, be really interested in learning, and, find something new they can, take away. Our clothing is different, from each other, from Ghana to Ethiopia to Namibia to different parts, Zanzibar, so many places.
So as someone who organizes an event like this, what is your favorite part of the market?
The smiles people go away with. I mean, I could just stand and just look at the atmosphere, look at people, the joy in their hearts. It's just one of the favorite parts, just for them to, and I mean, so many people have been here some for 30 years, or 20, some 5 years, but they haven't had that feeling, that experience again. And just, for some, it's just so much for some people, and they're just like, we're just thankful for this. So yes, that's one of the joys of having the markets, the fulfillment in people's eyes and what they take away from it.
Amazing. An event like this, it's not easy. Is there any way for, people within the community to get involved to make this run smoother?
Definitely. And I'm so thankful for my community, from ACOMI, that's the African body, to NAMI, which is the Nigerian Association, to even, my friends in the Caribbean. I have my very good friend is Jamaican. But he also helps give me lead, because even at the African markets, Naija Market Day, we have not just Nigerians, we have Africans and we have the blacks.
Yeah, Caribbean.
They come in to display their businesses as well, because at the end of the day, we are all the same color, right? So we all come together and we enjoy, and I have great team of volunteers and friends that are always there, to make sure things happen. But yes, we are open to getting more people in. So as many people as possible that wants to be a part of the market, it's www.naijamarketday.com. Just naijamarketday.com, and they can call me, send an email to info@naijamarketday. Just let me know they want to be a part of it, and we are able to bring them all in, as many hands as possible.
Okay, of course, yeah. The more the merrier, right?
Yes, the more the merrier.
So we've had 2 in Manitoba, and you're in the process of getting things set up in other provinces. When can people expect the next events here in Manitoba?
Oh, definitely. Next summer, we are planning it for it to be bigger and better. And we are also wanting, because this has all been out of pocket majorly. So we are hoping we can get government support, organizations to come support, and sponsor so that we can even have it more, nicer and merrier for everyone involved.
Exactly. It takes a little bit of stress off of you as well then.
Yes, it does.
Awesome. So once again, where can people go to find out more information about the Naija Market Day, as well as some of the other things that you're running in?
Yes. So if you go on Instagram, for instance, it's Naija Market Day on Instagram. On the website is www.naijamarketday.com. That's where you mostly get information from these days. And we try as much as possible with the support of organizations like yours to also push the words out there. So yes, Naija Market, just put it on Google. There was a day I did a search on Google. I'm like, okay, Google, what do you know about Naija Market? And I was surprised to see what, they had all the information there. And then I went on ChatGPT. I'm like, do you know anything about Naija Market Day? And I got information there as well. So, information is at your fingertips.
Out there now.
It's at your fingertips right now. So holla, I'm waiting to hear from everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us. And, I'm really excited to see it once it comes again here to Winnipeg.
Yes, next year, by God's grace, next summer, we are planning for it because it was indoor in Winnipeg last year. We want something more outdoor and more open to the public. So yes, we're going to make sure that happens.
Well, exactly. You have it outdoor. You got those scents and smells wafting across the city. People look,
what's happening there?
What's that? I'm hungry now.
Come get some jollof.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Have any stories you'd like us to share or communities we should highlight? Leave a comment on our social media or reach out to us on our website. I'm Ryan Funk. This was You Talk. And have yourself a good one.